what a time for us, what a time for the country, what a time for the sport. Now it's time to find out who the real governor is.
When it comes to rivalries, we've all witnessed our fair share throughout the years. But as of today, boxing's British heavyweight duo fares to offer something more than just the ordinary.
I offered to fight him in my first fight back, and they said no. Okay. So they don't want to fight me.
An awaited feud that's been a long time coming, and one that brings goosebumps to those who imagine the many possibilities of outcomes.
The man who talks less is the man you need to be worried about. Talk is cheap.
With both Fury and Joshua now holding the heavyweight prestige as their own, a showdown between the two men has only become more inevitable. And after both turned their wrongs into rights over the past year, it seems the only thing that looms in the headlights is the making of the ultimate collision itself. One that finally puts the beef to bed, and one that solidifies one more undisputed heavyweight champion for the history books.
I'm Fury! Tyson Fury, where you at, baby?
Uno number one, the best ever, me!
So as always, if you'd like to see more of our future content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications as we attempt to break down boxing's biggest heavyweight showdown. Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua.
Let's go, champ!
We're all familiar to those common he says, she says sparring stories in boxing. And usually after hearing them, we often just roll our eyes and move on. But when words of praise were spoken from the man himself, it didn't seem like something you'd dismiss that easily.
And I sparred with the ABA champion.
Oh, Joshua?
Yeah, he's red hot him. He's very good. Oh. He's rushed out at me. He threw a 1-2 left hook and a slip and slide. Bash him, a big upcut right in the point of the chin. If I'd have had a bit of a weak chin like David Price, I'd have been knocked out for a month.
From there, the Fury-Joshua rivalry only grew deeper, and with Joshua still on the rise at this stage, it was pretty obvious that a bout wasn't likely to be materialized anytime soon.
The great thing about this is you're going into the fight as the underdog. You know, very rarely will you see AJ go into any fight as the underdog, but this time, you look at the betting markets, AJ is the underdog against Tyson Fury.
And though Fury holding 5 more years in the pro game before Joshua, it was his 2012 win in the Olympics for the gold that placed him in good stead for his big night the following year.
This is the start of potentially a very, very long and exciting journey for Anthony Joshua.
That's what the boss is about.
And winning the Olympics was priceless experience as well, and this is my pro debut. There's only one pro debut, and we ended it in spectacular fashion.
In those 5 years prior, Fury respectively paved his way to the pinnacle of the sport in clean, unorthodox fashion. And although possessing a freakish ability of slick movement for a man of his stature, it seemed his brash, outlandish, and unpredictable personality often caught people's attention as much outside of the ring as to his skill set for the sweet science did inside.
You'll have to excuse me, I'm not willing to do a face-off, as David A scares me when he looks at me.
You see, you plumber from Liverpool, it's personal between me and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big idiot.
But after flying through opponents year in, year out, it came down to one night in particular, where he demonstrated adversity with just one more word in the dictionary.
Oh, there's another coming in, he's down. Cunningham is knocked down by Fury. This fight is over.
By this point, things were only heading one way, and with wins over Johnson, Chisora, and Hammer, it was only destined that a step up to face his biggest challenge yet was only getting closer by the day.
But there's a time for play, and there's a time for being serious. He knows I'm a serious person, and I know he's a serious operator. There's no disrespect.
12 rounds of nothing but one-sided schooling against one of boxing's most dominant heavyweight champions appeared to be nothing short of a massacre.
I think these tactics here are taking the play away from Klitschko, and he doesn't want to throw punches.
And although enduring the fulfilled lifetime dream by the end, it was shortly after that his highest moment soon led to what would be his lowest.
Yeah, he said he was going to do that, and credit to him, he's went out and done it.
With Fury out of the picture for almost 2 years, a window of opportunity for Britain's new prospect to fly the flag came available. and after 20 straight knockout wins in a row, it was clear he certainly knew how to fight.
I still believe styles make fights, and everyone's going to say to me, oh, boo, you're sticking with the matchroom fighter. Well, I just think AJ's style would be all wrong for Tyson Fury.
Unlike Fury, it wasn't the mind games and slippery style that got the better of his opponents, but the devastating power, speed, and combinations of his punches in which he threw with sheer ferocity.
Anthony Joshua's biggest test on paper has turned into his quickest win.
After continuing to climb the ladder of opposition fully unscathed brought him to a bout with a very familiar face from his amateur past.
Your heart will fail you, trust me.
Who are you, a doctor?
See if it was on the road,
your mouth will get you into
I would deal with you.
A clash against the undefeated Dylan White, who proved to be quite a handful at the time, handing AJ his first moment of fight or flight just 2 rounds in.
He shook Joshua. That was hard. Joshua's in big trouble. Massive turnaround here. There's a grin from White, but the legs are betraying him, and down he goes.
Well, listen, he's the king now.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He's the king, he's the big man now on campus.
Just a few fights forward, it was becoming obvious that AJ was much more than just a one-fight wonder as he bulldozed through some of the division's biggest top 10 names.
AJ's just done tonight what I always thought he could do, but he's took it to the next level. His stock now is growing even bigger and bigger. He's going on to that next level.
Carrying a glowing smile and humble persona, Joshua's polar opposite nature to Fury seemed to make for what would be the perfect hero to take down the perfect villain.
Right now we're on that stay hungry and stay humble.
We didn't come this far to kind of stop. We didn't come this far to fold under pressure. We came this far, and I feel like we can definitely go a lot further.
But after defeating Klitschko back in 2017 and Fury still yet to return, only one name seemed to crop up over and over in the meantime.
I will unify this division, and that is a promise. There's nothing I said I wouldn't do that I didn't do.
Yeah. I got a story to tell.
A stand-up opponent that was knocking out everything he touched in mind-blowing fashion. And although the back-and-forth talks between both teams seemed to only ever create constant frustration, the fight between AJ and Wilder will still always make you wonder, what if?
It seemed like this has turned into a Riddick Bowe and a Lennox Lewis effect. And if so, then you need to go and throw those belts in the trash can, because I am coming.
With the heavyweight scene being held up by both men unwilling to come to a mutual agreement, a sudden change in events had people overwhelmed in surprise as they witnessed one of the greatest comebacks the sport had ever seen.
A man goes from rags to riches, from a young boy to a man, rags to riches, loses it all within a year, but wins it back again all within a year of his comeback. How great of a story is that?
A rise from the ashes like no other, and one that inspired people from all over the globe. After such extreme weight loss and not looking his true self in either comeback fights, it was still at the back of people's minds that a step up to face boxing's most dangerous man was just one call too soon.
I got me rounds here tonight, 10 rounds. But one thing I promise when I go to Las Vegas is I'm knocking you out,
Yet once more, Fury managed to back up every last thing he said, outboxing, outmaneuvering, and getting up off the canvas to make the final belt, only to be handed a controversial draw.
And I will tell you, listen, Tyson Fury can box. Deontay Wilder is lucky he can't punch that great.
I think AJ knocks him out because you beat him by controlling him physically and by not just following him around like Deontay Wilder did, looking for one pot shots. You beat him by beating him up. You beat him by knocking him out.
6 months on, it was Joshua that also had his hand of bad luck dealt to him, as he lost to Andy Ruiz in what was probably one of boxing's biggest upsets to date. And though both men at this point were still battling out their demons behind closed doors, it was what happened next that had viewers mind-boggled, as both men took a leaf from one another, proving their ability to adapt and overcome at any means necessary.
It's been a monster class from Anthony Joshua. It puts him down. Fury scores the knockdown.
Now seeing both men switch up styles to get the results they desire tells us only one thing. Either participants are willing to do whatever it takes to defeat the odds and take back what's rightfully theirs on the night.
I told everybody I was going to knock him out, and nobody listened. Here we are.
And now keeping this in mind, the collision between Fury and Joshua has only become even closer and more intriguing in terms of who gets the victory. Yet many still favor Fury after his last demolition job of Wilder back in February.
If you go down that same road again, of course Joshua gonna beat him. If he don't go down that road, if he stays motivated, then I think he'll beat Joshua.
If I had to put my house on it and my life depended on it, Joshua against Tyson Fury, I'd have to go with Tyson Fury.
I think we've all said it, haven't we, about the ultimate contest out there now would be obviously Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. That would be the real big one, and it just doesn't get any bigger than that. That's the one we all would want to see.
Opposing two very different styles to one another makes for one hell of a fight, to say the least. But with AJ having the distinctive power advantage, could it be an early night for the Gypsy King? Or will Fury's magnificent footwork and agility puzzle AJ into no man's land for 12 long rounds?
When their time comes to step in the ring with the Gypsy King, they'll realise why I am the king.
Know me for boxing, that's all you need to know me for. So, if you want to talk to me, come see me. You know what I mean? And that's just how I operate.
A fight that not only draws nearer and has words of positivity come from all promoters, it's only likely that we will see both champions collide in what could be the biggest and most exciting fight in boxing history.